Is there any good news in Mark chapter 15? Not really. In this chapter, we are confronted by the wickedness of humanity, the misuse of authority, and the death of an innocent man. So it's hard to say in Mark chapter 15 there's good news to celebrate. But we're working our way through Mark's Gospel and we come to this chapter. Here we see Jesus being handed over to Pilate. People are convinced of his guilt, well, kind of. And so they need Pilate's authority to have him crucified. Pilate seems quite content to let him go, and so uses a tradition that he has to release someone at this time. The crowd rise up, and instead of Jesus, they cry for Barabbas. What about Jesus? Well, they cry for him to be crucified. And so Pilate hands him over to be crucified. Being nailed to a cross, a sign is nailed above his head which reads his charge, the King of the Jews. Others watch him die, and then they see where he is buried. There's not a lot of good news in Mark chapter 15. And yet, if we look a little more carefully, we begin to see that there is some good news here. That there is some recognition of who Jesus is, not just an innocent man being killed by corrupt power, but rather someone who really is the King of the Jews. A centurion who was overseeing his crucifixion and the crucifixion of others because, and you might not know this, crucifixion was pretty normal. There was nothing special about Jesus in that regard. But there was something special about this crucifixion. And so a centurion could see all that happened and say of Jesus, truly this man was the Son of God. Isn't that interesting? And people did see where Jesus was buried. And that is important to keep in mind, because this is not the end of the story. There is more to come. It's a dark chapter, but there is light on the other side.